think you are not. But
And we're
I'm
live.
kind of excited just because I don't know much about Plant. And he just,
3,
honestly, what it was is his promo. His promo just looks so awesome.
I think that's what you're giddy about.
And we're live.
It's
Hello,
like I get to meet
everybody.
Matt. We're not there yet, Cindy.
We're not there yet. Because
I was busy trying to share.
You literally fell for it.
and that is why I do it.
So now
That's why he was trying to count down this
now he can stop.
Let me rewind.
Oh,
Hello,
my
everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I am waiting for my page to load so I could start sharing. And I would like to go first and tell y'all about my day.
Go for it,
You know
James.
what? We're going to let you. Jamie.
But we're going to fill this air up a little bit while I'm trying to share because it seems like Facebook
Well, let me
does
go
not...
ahead and fill the
Wait,
air
I thought you said you wanted to go first.
with the business of the day. What do we know about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Down.
Okay, so today's business of the day is All Hell Meats.
Whoa.
And they are a local butcher shop here in Wolfforth. And so we went and picked up a brisket from them over the weekend for Father's Day. And hey, guys, $3.99 a pound. Okay.
Whoa.
Yes. So
have you
and they
one up
have
and send it up here to me.
They have all sorts of cuts and everything. They are at 930 West 5th Street here in Wolfforth. And their phone number is 806-771-0340. And you can message them. They're prompt about responding on messages, or you can call them, or you can go out and see them. And I'm going to go put their link.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
That looks awesome.
Oh, and Joe, I so thought about you. And I was like, I should totally get Joe this tomahawk.
Wow, yes, that would have been cool.
But
do they have a picture on it over here?
I wasn't that cool. But hey, listen. So 5 reasons to buy local meat.
Tell us.
Be healthier. Helps your local economy. It keeps farmers in business. Greater appreciation. And you save money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for all that.
We were like, we're not ever going to have a brisket again. But for $3.99 a pound, we sure did.
Man,
it kind of helps that you guys are living near the beef capital of the world too.
That helps. Doesn't it?
That doesn't help me because our beef prices are crazy. Yeah,
just a smidge. Those look really good.
Don't they have anything that's like nuclear? Like this says 16 ounces, but I'm like, I want more.
Yeah, you can be specific on what you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that the assistant saying that? I heard.
What did you say? He said, "You get any size you want, they'll cut it up."
Holla! Hell! Hell!
Hell, Hydra!
Can I get a hell yeah?
Can I get a hell meats?
Right, exactly. Man,
all right, so you guys know where to check out.
We'll definitely have to put them in the comments.
Yes.
Okay, so let me tell you about my day.
Okay, I want to hear.
I got up early because we had to take our dog, Ricardo, to the groomer. So got up early and got no nap today, y'all. It's
that's 2 days in a row, isn't it?
I'm gonna feel a little odd. So if I'm a little off today, it's because it's 2 days that I haven't gone with a nap. So, anyways, I take Ricky to the groomers, and then I go to work, do a smidgen of work. And while I'm at work, I actually get the call that my dog is ready. But the call goes like this. Hey, Mr. Baker, Ricardo doesn't like it here. And he has been biting us while we're trying to trim him. And so we've done the best that we can. So you might want to swing by and pick him up.
Joe.
You're
like, that's my dog.
Is this my groomer?
This is your groomer, yes.
Do not call them I referred you. They will kick us out.
Right, exactly. So I go to pick him up, and they have him on the table, and as soon as he sees me, he flips out. They flip out as soon as they see me.
Oh,
so he's like freaking out, and he's like yanking on the cord and everything like that. And they hadn't got to his face yet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not.
Oh, did he look?
And I was like, I'm so sorry. It's like, she goes, it's okay. It happens. It's his first time here.
He's never acted like that before.
Right, exactly.
Are you sure it's my Ricky?
Right, exactly.
Not my Ricky.
What did y'all do to him? Anyways, so I end up having to help hold him while they finish up grooming his face and stuff like that.
Did he bite you?
He did not bite me. But then for some reason, when they kind of grab his snout, I think he like bit his tongue. And so he's bleeding at there.
And he's a white dog.
And he's a white dog and he's bleeding.
Dude.
And oh my goodness. And I'm there and I'm wearing my orange shirt. And so I got dog fur all over me. And
all
so
over.
we get that done and bring him home and all that fun stuff. And then I had to go back and do something else. And Chris texted me. He's like, Ricky's bleeding all over the place again. And I'm like, he probably did something to his tongue. So that was the first part of the day. The second part of the day, I actually get to go play volleyball. I play volleyball on Wednesdays with my friends and my team, because we are going to have a summer league team, sand volleyball. We go out to Texas Tech to play volleyball, and we get stomped.
Oh my!
Get stomped. It wasn't even fun. It wasn't even fun. I was
I'm sorry,
we
dude.
just get hammered. So we lose all the games to these, kids that are. We lose all the games, which is fine.
Did you manage to come on the show
We're just there for practice. We're just there for practice, but it's still depressing. And I'm like, you know what? So I'm gonna go home, and I call the kids, and Jet's like, "Hey, I want Whataburger." I was like, "Sweet, I'm gonna do Whataburger, and I'm gonna get me a chocolate shake because I deserve it for getting my butt
Yes,
stomped."
you do, dude.
Yeah. So we get to Whataburger. There's a long line. I'm getting there, and I grab the shake from her, and I'm putting it in the back cup holder, and I smash it. And it explodes all over the back of my car. And I just want to quit. I just want to quit. Today's over. I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, Joe. So your car got shaken.
Yeah, so I spent a good 10 minutes cleaning it all up, and and I'm here now. So that was my day.
Right. And now I'm with y'all too.
And now I'm with
Thank you.
y'all.
I have to put it with y'all space.
So I hope y'all had a better day than I did. And I'm sorry that took up all the time, but it was really.
No, that's okay.
It's just it was not.
I've got nothing. I mean, mine pales in comparison to yours. Tell us how your day.
Mine's on the opposite end, actually.
Oh, great! Thanks.
I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna mute myself.
I had a day, and then towards the end of the day at my job, I got a message from a buddy who was like, "Hey, so we were supposed to meet last night, but he wanted to go hang out with a friend of his who had a breakup with his girlfriend. So he was being the wingman. But then when he got there, he was like, are y'all broke up? Because y'all don't look like y'all broke up." And he was like, "Nah, we're okay."
Break up? Just kidding.
I don't know. But, I will say that he was on. His friend broke up with. They happened to break up on the same day that the PS4 Last of Us Part 2 came out, and he looked like he was on it all day. So I'm not saying that's what did it, but I'm not saying it didn't do it either.
It didn't help, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so he called and he was like, he had told me yesterday. He's like, we were going to do it yesterday, but he ended up coming in tonight, and we got to hang out outside, socially distanced, and I just grilled out some hot dogs real quick for us, and he brought some potato salad, and we just hung out outside, and then we kicked the soccer ball or football, whatever way you want to say it, with the girls. And we just had a good night, and it was nice and cool today, and the sun was going down, and it was just, man, it was perfect temperature. They're like 76, 78.
Can you just pretend you dropped a hot dog to make Joe feel better?
Right.
Oh, yeah. And then so when I was like messing with the grate, couple of the hot dogs were like, bloop, we're just gonna go meet the charcoal, and I was like,
okay,
that's for
good.
The children.
Thanks.
I was like, just get the water hose on.
Rinse them off real good. They'll be fine.
There you go.
Yeah. See, this was my chocolate shake now.
Oh, it was from all the way.
It was like from here, and then I get this much for it. I was like this. All right, so I'm just gonna go over here in the corner whenever you guys.
I'm gonna go slurp on the rest of the
I'll be back when it's empty in about 2 seconds. Oh, so hold on. Don't say anything yet.
Anything yet?
Okay. It's
right. Okay, now you can say something.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah.
Who do we have on the show today?
I'm glad you asked that, Joe. So,
how did you know to ask?
Look. I hope you all saw the excellent photo that our next guest was in today, because he is a sharp dressed man. Okay, so let's just get that out there. This is a good looking fella. He's out there. I don't know if he's single or married, but after tonight, I'm sure everyone's going to be coming after him, right? Because that was one heck of a picture right there that he took.
Hey,
what?
You know what? Because any man that can take care of a plant can take care of a woman.
Right, exactly.
You know what you're saying, Sandy. So we have a guy here who manages, and I don't think manages really encapsulates the effort that this man and the knowledge that this man has, but he manages the greenhouse. What is it? Tell me the name of it, Joe. I always forget.
Texas Tech Horticulture Garden. Texas Tech Horticulture Garden.
What he said.
And then Jamie's like, just throw in greenhouse because that's what he was trying to say.
And greenhouse.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. But he's got a lot of hobbies that he's done. We're bringing him in because we really want to hear about his work and his expertise in horticulture. And so I hope a lot of you brought some pictures and start posting them in the comments of your plants. If you have questions about some of your flowers, maybe even just general questions about stuff what to plant in season, the fruits, vegetables, all that kind of stuff. So get that on the comments so that we can totally ask Mr. Baliga the questions tonight. So without further ado, I want to welcome Vikram Baliga to the show.
Yay!
And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you I'm going to be a hog. Hi, Vikram.
Golf clap. Uh-oh, no sound.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah. So a couple of things. I am married.
Okay, good.
But I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. My friend Jordan just asked how much did he pay you to say all these nice things, and the checks are in the mail, so right. I appreciate it.
Right.
We take Venmo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's way
at
easier.
At JP 123.
Yeah. Joe dash
We're gonna go right over here next time, Sandy.
Do people still write checks? I don't know. I guess I'm showing my age a little bit.
I took 2 checks actually this weekend.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Okay.
I wrote one out a couple of weeks ago.
Yep. I have not written one in forever.
Yeah. No.
So Vikram.
Ashley Saeed says, "Hey Vic." I don't know if I pronounced your last name right. Sorry, Ashley.
Ashley is a fellow photographer, so she knows Vic very well.
Yeah.
So Vic, you're a photographer too, or she just takes photographs of you?
Oh yeah, no, people don't take pictures of me. I don't
sure?
know what pictures you were looking at, but no, that's not it.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Show you guys. Look at this. Look at that photo right there, everyone.
Pause for a second. Okay, please go on there and love that picture because Jamie put some effort into that.
Right.
I didn't have much effort to put in. When you have someone who looks as good as Vikram doing that for you, it's minimal effort for someone like me to do what I did there. Most of it came from him. Okay?
That is all just like the photo magic of our campus photographer, Ashley Rogers, who I had to bribe to take good pictures of me, but I appreciated it.
Nice.
Well, good for you. The bow tie really, man.
I appreciate
that's a little ting that comes on in the movies and the videos. That's where the ting comes from. The ting came off of your bow tie.
I do like a good bow tie. I own a lot of bow ties. This is not about bow ties, but I enjoy bow ties.
It's not, but you know what? You pull them off great so far from what I've seen.
I appreciate it.
Okay?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Perfect. So Vikram, tell us about you other than a bow tie.
Other than the bow tie, yeah. So I'm the manager of the teaching greenhouse and horticultural gardens here on campus. So we've got plants and stuff and students. Sometimes we don't have students right now because apparently it's like the middle of the apocalypse. I don't know. So they told all the students to go home and they're not here. But so I'm a Lubbock native. I grew up here, did my undergrad at A&M, and my parents say I'm in recovery because I'm back and working on a couple of degrees from Texas Tech. So
wait, right now?
Yeah, I'm finishing my PhD this summer.
Oh.
Shush.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Vikram, I know that. My wife finished her PhD at Texas Tech also. And yeah, so.
And I just there's days I just want to escape to the mountains and trap squirrels for a living. And it's all right. I'll get through it probably. So it's in horticulture. I've been studying water conservation.
Okay.
And in the landscape. And so home stretch, I've got, I won't show you the rest of my disaster of an office, but I've got stacks of journal articles and all.
I was going to say all your citations and everything.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So, no, longtime Lubbock native. I did my master's at Tech, finishing my PhD here at Tech. We have a small family peach orchard called Noble Farms out west of town.
That's you?
It's my parents, but it's family farm.
Noble what?
Noble Farms. I think on Facebook, I think it's Noble Farms TX. And so we're actually getting ready to open here in a couple of weeks. And so let's see, what else do I do? Yeah, I'm like Joe mentioned, I'm an amateur photographer. I'm not. I would not call myself. People are like, you're a photographer. I'm like, no. Let's roll that back a little bit. I like to take pictures of things, and I've got, I'm a nature photographer for the most part, and I've got a lot of great subject matter here at the greenhouse and gardens, and so it's easy to practice and do some of that. I don't know.
So Vikram, are you in charge of the Facebook account?
Yes.
Okay, because I will tell you, the Facebook account for the Texas Tech Horticultural Garden is awesome. It's a great one to follow. So I love your humor in it and just the information that you share. So it's really a good one to follow.
Oh, share it. I want to follow.
Yeah, I want to see now. The Texas Tech Horticulture.
I don't remember what it's called. TTU Greenhouse and Horticultural Gardens. I don't know how to send a link, but I would. They probably give me way too much liberty with that, in all honesty, because I just post whatever pops into my head and whatever I happen to be doing that day.
Yeah, so one of my friends, photography friends, left her stool out there, and she's like, she told me to ask, and she was like, hey, can I get my stool back? Well, anyways, the stool... The whole story about the stool was amazing. It was just it's like someone's left him behind and he's sad. You put eyeballs on him.
I put googly eyes on it, and we made. So I actually, this is not a joke. This is sitting on my desk. This is a.
Oh, I love it.
Pack of googly eyes that sits next to my mixer here on my desk.
That's awesome.
I probably don't take life seriously enough. But,
you know what? I have a little package of them too at work, and I put them in random places.
Yeah. Oh no. Like if you were to walk through my greenhouses, there's at least a dozen plants with googly eyes on them, just all over the greenhouse. I've been alone a lot
funny.
Since like lockdown started, because I've still had to water plants, so I've been here like by myself, and so I've made friends.
Oh, so you would, you made me think when you said that you make friends. Like, so you must have been jealous of the plants that got to go see the symphony last night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool, right?
It was. I got to listen to, I saw the pictures of a few of it, and I was like, oh, snap, they really did that. I was like, they really filled that place up. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. I do a nerdy plant podcast called Planthropology. Which is a word I made up.
Hashtag, what is it?
It's like Planthropology. So it's anthropology with a PL slapped on the front. And pretty much so I interview people in our department, in the industry, in our field, and just talk about what makes them passionate about what they do, why they keep doing it. And it's really supposed to be just a piece for anyone to look at, to get excited about nature and the natural sciences and all these things. And so it's pretty laid back, casual. We just have conversations, and it's a lot of fun.
Is this it right here?
That is it.
That's nice. That's why he's got the cool mic and he's already got the setup and everything like that.
I thought that was just for us, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I went out and bought this today.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
My bad.
Oh, you did get it today.
Yeah, just bought it today, just for you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm going to make sure to put that in our comments. Sorry, Joe.
No worries. Yeah. So I put the link to the actual page for the Texas Tech Greenhouse and Horticulture Garden. So you can click on that and you can kind of see. So actually the last post was about ducks. So
I saw that.
Yeah, we had ducks. That was weird.
Did you put googly eyes on them too?
If I could have caught them, apparently they can fly. Who knew?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But
so how long have you been the manager or out there for them?
So I've been in this job about 2.5 years. I started in April of 2018. Before that, I was with the Extension Service. So I did here in Lubbock. So I did community education and horticulture, talked to people about their landscapes, their plants, worked with a lot of our small farmers in the area. I was on the board for the downtown farmers market for a couple of years. So I've done
that was a good one.
a lot of plant stuff in this area. But yeah, I've been in this job about 2 years. And it was interesting because I did my master's in 2010 through 12. And most of my research was in this facility. So I spent hours and hours, here taking data on stuff as a grad student. The first time around. And so getting this job and getting to be in this job was a little bit like coming home. And it was just a fun, like kind of full circle thing for me.
Nice.
But yeah, no,
so that was 2010 to 2012.
Yeah, when I was doing my master's. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then after that, that's when you went to Texas A&M, I guess, right?
So no, I went to A&M first, graduated in 2010.
Oh, okay.
Did my master's 10 through 12, and then I ran a landscape company for a couple of years. I worked for the extension service for about 4 years, like I mentioned, and then came back to school, and then came back to work at Texas Tech in 2018. So I've kind of done a little bit of a few things.
So you have a green thumb then, basically.
It depends on the day. I tell people, it's funny. People ask me that all the time. So you must keep everything alive. And I'm like, sure. Yeah. They say to become an expert in something, you have to spend 10,000 hours doing it, right? That's a thing that they've said over and over.
That's it? Just 10,000?
That's what they say.
Why not?
Like a lot. Seems like a lot.
Right.
Well, it turns out to be an expert in killing plants, you've got to kill, or not killing plants, you've got to kill a few of them first.
Oh, I'm like, what?
And so, yeah. No, so it's some trial and error there. I do my best, but
you do your best to kill them? No,
well,
just playing. I just don't answer that. I just messing with you.
Depends on what kind of research we're doing, but but yeah. So I try my best not to kill them. I try my best to keep them alive. But I think that it's a learning experience. I think that when people say, "Oh, I kill plants all the time," I'm like, okay, we'll get another one. Try again, and you get there eventually. Every time I think you fail at something, especially like this, that's in general fairly low stakes, right? If you kill a tomato plant, well, okay, you get to try again, and that's how you learn, and that's how you figure out how to do stuff.
I think when I do that, I'm like killing the earth, and it's taking some, score against me, and it's like when I send the virus out, it's definitely going to have Jaime written in the code for you.
No, you know what?
What?
Chunks when you kill a plant.
Dang it.
So,
Okay.
Sandy, I think you have some questions.
I have lots of questions. Okay. So, Jamie, do you have my pictures? I submitted a few pictures for you. And just so you can kind of
on the Discord, I think, right?
Oh, on Discord. Thanks.
Yes, it was on Discord. My mother has a green thumb. She's got an Amazon forest in her house. She's got a whole room dedicated to plants. And I have an ivy that I've had probably 3 years. And that's the only thing I can keep alive. Occasionally it starts to wither and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't water my plant. But then I also have some plants at the office. My mother gave me a little rose bush for Mother's Day. And we have a picture of it coming up. And I tell her that she didn't give it to me with love because it's not surviving. So I felt like she just bought this without love. And so that's why it has not made it. Would you say that's an accurate statement?
It probably is, yeah. That feels like good science. Okay, so there's a little aloe.
So this is an aloe plant that I've had probably for about 6 months.
Okay.
And it's already saying peace because it's
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's funny. I really like that, actually.
So what do I do for this? I'm trying so hard. So you know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. I had some grapes that were withering, and I thought, let me feed it grapes because maybe some compost will keep it alive.
You know what? I can't knock you, Sandy. I think that sounded like a great idea. To be honest.
I thought so too.
I agree with you. It'll biodegrade into it, and
so as a concept, yeah, that's not you're in the ballpark there.
I feel like you're laughing at me.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
How much sunlight does it get? Because I'm looking.
I have one small window, and you see, it's kind of tilted. It's like going towards the sunlight.
Yeah. So a couple of things it could be with aloe. One thing is it could need a little more light. And I know that's hard sometimes just based on how much light is available, right? One thing you could do, they sell, like even at Walmart, just plant grow bulbs that'll screw in any light socket, just a standard bulb. And so you can get a little lamp and set it by your plant and put a plant bulb in it and just give it a little bit of extra sunlight or a little bit of extra light. That'll help push it along some. Sometimes it could be, how often do you water? That's the second question I normally ask.
Good question. And I would like to say that I do at least weekly. Occasionally, let's just go with weekly.
Okay.
For simplicity.
Yeah. Okay. So as long as the soil isn't staying like super wet, like if it's not just like soggy all the time, I would say probably increase your water just a little bit, maybe a couple of times a week, or water it more heavily when you do.
Okay. See, and I'm scared I'm an overwater. Just kind of like when I make my food, I don't want to oversalt it, so I don't want to overwater. But I'm going to take that into consideration.
Yeah, and if especially if you're only watering like once a week, it would be hard to overwater it. You could really saturate that soil and then let it dry and let it drain for a while, and the plant should do okay.
Okay.
You're not feeding it like your leftover hamburgers and French fries or anything either, are you?
No, I just did grapes for compost purposes.
Okay, just want to make sure the whole picture's there.
The grape is still right back there. Should I take that out?
The grape's fine. You can leave the grape. Yeah, grape's fine.
So my next plant is a succulent that was given to me.
That's definitely sunlight.
Oh, it's sunlight. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of my problems can be solved with sunlight.
Yes. So it's funny because people are always like, "Oh, you can't kill a succulent." Lots of people kill succulents.
Believe me, I can, girl.
Well, you know what? We do plant sales here every now and then, and we sell succulents. And so when people take them home and kill them, they have to come back and buy another one. It's great. But pretty much the biggest mistake people make with succulents is they don't give them enough light. They buy them at the grocery store, they get them as a gift, and just stick them on their desk in their office, and there's no light. They're generally plants that like higher light environments. So if you can increase your sunlight, it will be much happier.
Okay.
Gosh, I feel so sad for all those succulents out there. I work in a building that's like a prison. And those things must be like, where am I?
Help me.
So what I'm going to do tomorrow is ask for a promotion to get an office with a bigger window.
I think that's a good idea.
Thank you. I'm going to do that.
And you can justify it, right? You're like, my plants need this.
Plants.
I have responsibilities. These plants need more sunlight.
Anita's like, Sandy, now you'll grow a grapevine.
I'm going to do it, Anita, and I'm going to make my own wine. Just watch.
I'm gonna rearrange this real quick. So, there we go. Sorry.
Okay, so then I have
sorry.
My next plant is the one my mother bestowed upon me without any love.
Ooh.
Is there can I come back from this?
No. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Sandy, is this outside?
Well, so my mom said
give it sunlight.
Yes, sunlight. Make sure you put it in a big pot. So it's in a big pot, but I don't understand why it just didn't stay alive.
I don't.
did what you told me.
I don't know that I could tell you for sure. What's sitting next to it?
Oh, this is the only flower that I can keep alive. You're gonna be shocked. This is amazing. You see there?
Yeah. That one looks great.
This blooms year round. Don't be jealous.
That's really. I need more of those out here. No, so I think it's honestly at this point it's kind of hard to say. What might have happened. Again, it could be water. It could be depending on how long.
Texas heat, right? Like Texas heat is different than sunlight.
For sure. And so it got hot pretty early this year, and it's kind of gone up and down a lot. But it could just be the heat and a lack of water.
Neglect is what you're saying.
I wasn't going to use that word, but
in so many words.
I feel like you were saying neglect. And here's the deal. So I went and bought plant food for it. And my son jokingly told me it's because it died because it wasn't gluten-free. So
it's gluten-free, plant-free. There'd be like a whole new line at Lowe's.
Wait, is it vegan-free then?
Vegan plant food.
Can vegan plant food, isn't that cannibalistic?
It feels that way. Yeah.
Right?
It feels
but
that
I bet
way.
it would grow beautifully.
But we say vegan to make it feel more comfortable, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Free range
I
plant
all
food.
of my disasters. Does anybody else want to share any of theirs?
I do, but so we got a question for you real quick, Vikram. Chris Pin says, "Why do some of my potted plants' leaves turn yellow?"
Okay, so kind of the same stuff we've been talking about. I think that in general with interior plants, if we're talking about like a potted plant in your house, the two biggest things are water and light. So if and you can kind of adjust for this, right? So if you're watering it a ton, you water it every day, whatever, and it's still turning yellow, dial back the water, right? Do the opposite thing that's kind of giving it trouble. If it's in super bright light and it's starting to crater, move it out of direct sunlight a little bit and give it a little bit more shade. So you can kind of like troubleshoot back and forth a little bit. In general, again, with our potted plants, it is light and water. A big thing with potted plants too is drainage, right? You want to make sure that it's not just sitting in water all the time. So your pots need a hole or two in the bottom so that the water can drain out. And, because overwatering and underwatering can both cause problems.
I feel like plants are very needy.
They are.
Kind of like children.
Kind of. Yeah. I have a 4-year-old, so yeah.
But we get something to eat back from the plant, though, right?
That's true. I tell people this and it freaks them out, but I'm just going to throw it at you anyway. That plants are the top and the bottom of the food chain, right? So like we eat plants, the things we eat plants, and then someday plants end up decomposing everything. And so
they win.
They win. Plants in the end always win.
Very true.
I don't know if that's comforting or not, but
I'm okay with it, actually. I'm okay with that.
So, Jimmy, you got your plant?
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
I'm go ahead for it.
Okay, so the producer, my wife, has a plant. And she just wants to know, how often should she water this one? It's an outdoor plant. I think it needs sunlight, like, what do they say, 8 to 10 hours or something like that? And so she's like wondering.
Yeah. So I'm looking at. So I think that is it's a petunia. I see petunias on this side. I'm gesturing with my mouse, like y'all can see this.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
I was gonna say pansy, but you might know more than I do.
So there's a couple. These pink ones on the left are petunias. The ones on the right are, I can't exactly tell. It's either a petunia or one called a calibrachoa. I'm not sure in the back. So yeah, if it says full sun, I will say that full sun, not all full sun is created equal. And in West Texas, we have this like super intense sunlight. And if you've, been outside ever after 2 p.m. in Lubbock, like, right?
Right.
It's like our elevation's pretty high. Our humidity is super low. So we get super intense sunlight. So I would say that, if it says full sun in Lubbock, you really want to make sure you're getting your 8 or so hours as much as you can in the morning, having it inside, whatever, because by the time it's like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, it's so hot, the sunlight's so intense that it can be an issue.
Okay. So back to the watering part.
Okay. They look good. I mean,
yeah. Okay, that'll make her feel good.
She bought a new plant before the show so she could show you how good she is.
No. She's actually had these for like a little over a week and a half to 2 weeks now.
Okay.
And so
I'm impressed.
So the storm the other night kind of pushed them over and they fell down, so she was a little worried about that, but she was not sure how much she needs to water. Like, she's like, do I water it? She can't tell when it's too damp or too dry or
right. So they look good. She's doing whatever she's doing. She's doing a good job.
Okay.
What a good rule of thumb, for potting soil is if you can like stick your finger in the soil, and the top layer will start to dry out. But if you can still feel moisture an inch or two down, you're fine. Go another day. It's when it starts getting real dry in that top 2 inches that you really want to water. I will say though that with your flowers that are outdoors in a pot, especially in this like soilless potting media that has lots of the white kind of foam stuff in it, it's kind of hard to overwater it, especially this time of year. So it looks good, but again, I would just do that kind of test in the top couple inches of soil, and then if it's feeling pretty dry, go ahead and water again.
Nice. So she'll be happy about that because she's like, She's been having problems keeping stuff alive.
I mean, those are really pretty.
They are. Yeah, they're
Okay,
nice.
so I'm gonna remove mine. So I think there's some other questions there, Jamie.
Okay. We've got, we do. Here we go. Andrea B, she says, what plants do you recommend for a humid climate?
Humid climate. I don't know much.
Cactus?
No, definitely not cactus. I have not spent a lot of time in a humid climate. You know, I'm a Lubbock guy, but
It's a dry heat.
it's a dry heat. So I would say there's probably not a lot that you can't. So here's a good rule of thumb. If you go to the box stores, the big chain nurseries, like when I'm talking, when I'm saying bad things about them, I call them blue and orange box store. So, I don't get sued by anybody. There's blue box store, there's orange box store, and then there's kind of the blue and gray box store.
Right.
Anyway, at any rate,
Got it.
generally the plant decisions are getting made at their corporate office, wherever that is. Right.
Okay.
And so the plants that end up in your area at these stores aren't necessarily the best adapted to your area. So a good place to look, I don't know that I have any specific recommendations for a humid climate. I don't know much about those types of plants. But what you can do is go to a local nursery wherever you live, or look up a master gardener association in your area, because they'll have good recommendations. They'll grow plants that actually do well in your climate. And then, I'm all about supporting local as much as possible too. So if you can find a good local nursery that does a good job, they'll have the right plants, and they'll also be putting money back in your own economy.
Man, I love the way you answered that.
That was good.
Yeah. Here's our next one. John Matthews says, my sago plant palms and I have a love-hate relationship here in Lubbock.
Lubbock.
Houston loves sago palms.
Yeah, they struggle here a little bit. It's that intense sunlight we get. They look like a desert plant because they're kind of like cactusy or whatever, but they're actually a palm, and so they're a tropical. And so they'll live here, but you'll get a lot of browning and burning on the leaves sometimes, especially as they get older. And so again, it's the intense sunlight and the low humidity that sago palms are not a big fan of.
You need to put a pergola over them, John. That's what he's saying. Okay.
Yeah, you need a new pergola in your life.
That's what
right, exactly.
Yeah.
The producer says, I believe they are impatient.
She's talking about y'all.
Oh.
No, the pink and flower, the pink flowers that I showed earlier.
The raven impatient. Yeah, they're back.
Yeah.
She was quick on that. I like that. That was funny. Is it true that talking and softly caressing your plants helps keep them healthy?
Okay, so believe it or not, they have done they've spent actual research money doing science on this. Just for grins, I guess. I don't know. There is some evidence that plants that you talk more nicely to tend to do better.
Shut the front door.
But
dude, totally, they're smart. Okay, smart plants.
But it's more about you than the plants, because if you think about it psychologically, if you're being mean to something, you're just automatically not going to care about it as much, right? So it's hard to take error out of these experiments. And so the people that are going and saying nice things to their plants, it sounds crazy, but they bond with those plants more. And so they end up taking subconsciously better care of those plants that they're nicer to. But the ones that they come in and they're, yelling curse words at every day and telling them they're stupid and all this stuff, they're just unconsciously going to give them worse care. And it sounds crazy, but that's kind of some of the conclusions they've drawn from that research. That the plants don't really care what you say to them. They don't hear you, but it has more to do. I don't know. I hope not. I sure hope not.
You're like, hey, stupid little plant, you're so cute.
Well, then, Chris, y'all are going to hate me on this one because I thought I was overachiever. I like to take care of my plants very well, Vikram. In fact, I have them going to a symphony hall every other week to get professionally. I have a quartet that does this for them. And now you're telling me it doesn't matter?
Well, they may love music.
You know how much money that's costing me?
It did look expensive. That's a nice theater hall. Yeah.
Bear no expense.
None.
These,
Yeah,
those ones in the front had some high dollar seats. Yeah.
Right?
First couple rows, yeah.
So those are my more popular friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, plants. So I like to take care of them more than
if
the
you
ones.
zoom in, there's googly eyes on all of them.
You weren't supposed to see those. I'm gonna tell
Okay, yeah.
Carrie is saying, do you mind touching on the importance of watering certain times of the day to avoid sunburning your plants? I see a lot of my friends thinking their plants are dying, but really they're burning because of the magnifying glass of water.
It's actually a really good question. So watering in the morning is best. Across the board, watering in the morning is best. Whether it's your lawn or your tomatoes, it doesn't matter. And the second thing is, it's harder to do with grass, but you don't want to water the leaves any more than is necessary at any time. So you want to make sure that you're watering the soil and not necessarily spraying water over the canopy or the leaves of the plant. Now, sometimes that's not practical, right? Like you go out with a hose and you spray with a hose and it's fine. If you're going to get water on the leaves, you definitely want to do that in the morning, because if you get water droplets that sit on a leaf too long, especially in that hot afternoon sun, it does work like a magnifying glass, and you can get these little sunburn spots on the leaves of your plants just from the lensing effect of those water drops. Yeah, it's a good question.
Ah,
Wow.
Interesting.
y'all are
That
blowing my
is-
mind. Carrie,
Real.
come to my house.
That is crazy.
Carrie, you so smart.
There's some crazy talk there.
Girl. And then we got John, who says, also my cat poops.
Yeah, that's, and the cat does it on purpose, just out of
Oh,
spite.
that's just fertilizer, Sandy. That's just fertilizer.
Grapes, cat poop, whatever.
Andrea said, thank you, plant guy. I will definitely take your advice.
That's Mr. Nerdy Plant Guy to you, man.
Come on. Come on, B. What would we know about Florida plants?
No wonder my sago palms die. I curse them and tell them they will never amount to anything. So
Yeah,
sad.
self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess.
Golly, John. Those
So-
poor things.
So rude.
All right, I do have some pictures. Should I show mine now, or
Yeah, go right ahead.
Ew.
No, I'm good.
Oh, I lost them. Okay, I don't know what these plants are, nerdy guy, plant guy. But-
THC plants.
THC. No, stop, Sandy.
It's legal there.
Yeah, no, it's not for us to grow them in our homes.
Oh, my
It's
bad.
gonna get me in trouble. All right, I don't know what plant this is, but I recently, let's see if I get. I try to take a close one in the soil and then out one like this. I recently went through this, and poor thing just had a bunch of like these.
Dead.
Well, this isn't quite dead, but almost it looks like to me. But it had a bunch of dead stuff, and I was just taking the scissors and just cutting stuff and getting all the. And anyway, I trimmed this guy down to a nice, much more manageable spot. But he was definitely littered with lots of dead pieces.
Yeah, and that's really the right thing to do. They'll, if you have a house plant, the chances are good that at some point, for some reason, it's going to start looking a little rough. It could be different times a year. You don't get as much sunlight in a certain window that it's sitting by, or whatever.
That's a good point. I'm in Illinois, just in case you didn't know. So I'm not in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot less sun up here in the north.
Yeah, and so it could be that
so
like.
Crazy.
So one thing that's interesting to think about, I think, is that plants are pretty adaptable. So they can go from sometimes one environment to another in terms of light, in terms of some other stuff, but it takes them time. And so they have to acclimate to a new environment. So sometimes as weather patterns and sun patterns change, you'll get these weird light gaps, and it mimics like the plant actually going into winter or into fall in its natural environment. Maybe not so much these tropicals, but so sometimes you do get dieback, and you do get leaves and stems and stuff. Then it's no problem at all to prune them out. Another thing you might think of, and I can't necessarily tell how large the pot is, but all the leaves that I'm looking at for the most part look pretty healthy. There's a couple that are turning yellow, but you can pull those off. At some point, especially if you've got multiple plants in the same pot and they're starting to look rough, a good option is to bump it into a larger pot. They just may need more space for the roots to spread out and all of that.
We could do that. Yeah, these are really important plants, I'll tell you too, Vikram. Just these are the plants that were in my father-in-law's funeral, and so we have a desire to want to make sure we keep these, as healthy as much as we can. So
for sure,
yeah, I will definitely look into getting a bigger pot.
Because that helps a lot. So that is a snake plant.
We didn't even.
Great! You just made his day.
Didn't even know that, dude. That's so awesome.
And it's also fake.
It's not fake. Stop it.
This is my plastic snake plant. Yeah.
I have 2 snakes in our house. We have 2 snakes that are part of our family. So those are our dogs or snakes. So the fact that you just called that, I'm like, oh my gosh. The kids are going to be excited when I tell them in the morning.
What kind of snakes do you have?
I have an albino western hognose and an albino snow corn snake also.
Oh, that's cool. So my wife actually is the education coordinator at our science museum here in Lubbock. It's called the Science Spectrum, and so so she's a snake person. She had a snake when she was in high school, I guess, and they've got tons of snakes in their collection, and so she'll appreciate that for sure.
Nice. All right, so and then there's the soil part right there.
Yeah, so it looks okay. Again, it may be a little underpotted, so you could go up into a slightly larger pot than that. But snake plants are tough. They're one that you can stick in an office with very little sunlight, very little light availability, and they seem to do just fine for quite a while.
Yeah, this one, so there's light on either ends of where this plant sits, and we used to have it in the living room where not a lot of light was getting in. And I got to tell you, out of all of the plants, I really feel like this one's been the most robust. Of them all.
They're tough. They'll hang in there.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So, Vikram, when you repot, so do you just pull the whole thing out? You don't shake. You just keep the same soil. You don't shake any of it off or anything.
If the soil is pretty good, so you can tell a lot as you pull it out by kind of how it smells. If it smells like it's been sitting in water, kind of septic or like it's a sewer, then you might want to take some of that old soil off. But in general, I'll just pull it out of the pot. I will loosen up some of the roots that are on the outside of that root ball without damaging them, any more than necessary, and then just put it in a new pot. Normally what I would say to do is you don't want to, here's a good point. You don't want to take your plants out of your old pot that's smaller, stick it in the bottom of a new pot, and then just fill it up, because then you're covering up a lot of your stem and a lot of your leaf material, which can rot out. So you actually want to kind of measure the top of the root ball as you pull it out of the old pot and fill enough soil in the bottom of your new pot so it sits about at the top. Or about an inch below the top or something like that.
Okay.
Just so that you're not covering up the growing points of that plant.
Okay.
So Vikram, I got a bunch of questions here, so I'm gonna stop sharing and get to some of our questions. I do want to point out Alana. I guess that's your wife, right? So she says, Alana. We'll talk about hognoses later because they're my favorite too. They're my favorite. They're absolutely best.
And he can talk forever. Ever. So yeah, we'll put a pin in that and come back around.
All right, so we'll start up here. Ashley says, I've got gorgeous 3.5, 4 foot tall tomato plants that are blooming, but never put out tomatoes. They get morning light and afternoon shade. I've also been pruning them. What am I doing wrong?
Okay, so spring tomatoes are tough in Lubbock. Tomatoes have this weird thing where when the temperatures get up into the 90, 95 degree range, the pollen kind of dies. And so it essentially messes up the proteins in the pollen. Yeah, it's done. It's too hot. It's too hot. Needs shade. Yeah.
Kind of like us.
Yeah. Oh, just you stay. If they're like, I'm staying inside. I'm not doing the thing. Spring tomatoes are tough because it gets so hot so early. But what I tell people a lot is if they can keep their tall tomatoes alive through the summer, generally speaking, when our nighttime temperatures and our daytime temperatures start to drop in, August, September, they'll start putting on new flowers and they'll start setting fruit. Another thing you can do, Ashley, is put a little extra shade over them. Kind of on the west side. So whether you put a little, some stakes in the ground and put some shade cloth over it or something like that. But it's a heat issue for sure. Tomatoes kind of shut down when it gets hot.
That's me too.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
He's like, throw some shade on him, west side.
Oh,
I was like, oh my goodness.
Did you just go there?
He did. It happened.
Jordan says, Vikram may not know this, but we, his friends, refer to him as Plant Google when we don't know what is going on. with a plant, we consult the great plant Google and send him a text.
Oh my God. I can't tell you how many texts I get a week of like blurry pictures of plants. Like if someone's driving down the highway, taking pictures out their window. Hey, what's this? I don't know.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. No.
I'd do the same thing. If you were in my friends list, I'd be like, oh, ooh, let's see. That guy, what's going on here?
No, and honestly, I don't mind it. I like, I care about plants. I'm obviously super nerdy about it, but I enjoy like doing that. But yes, I know that you call me Plant Google, Jordan. Jordan and I have been friends since we were like 5 years old.
Oh,
But
what is he?
He is. What is he? He's
if you're Plant Google,
Yeah, if you're
I'm
Plant
Plant Google. He's, I guess, commercial real estate Google. I don't know. He does commercial real estate. Here's a dirty little secret about how I answer all these questions. I literally just got really good at Googling stuff.
Wow, that is. We are kindred spirits, Vikram, because that's how it is when I work on people's computers.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just Googled it.
Yeah, no, totally. But I don't tell people that usually, so I sound super smart. It's a trick. It's all a trick. So they'll like send me like, my plant is doing this, this, and this, and I will literally just go type that into Google and look around for a while until I find.
Yours has got to be better because when I come, like I'm like Joe, so when I get the computer questions, I'll get on my phone and act like I can't give them the time of day because I'm like whatever and stuff, and they're like, well, when you get around to it, please, and I'll be like, and I'll be done. I was like, Google said to try this. Where's that setting at? Oh my gosh.
I don't know how to do it.
I want to look like a fool in front of them. Anita says, if you have dead branches in your rose bush, and if you don't trim them off, will it slowly kill your rose bush?
So you do definitely want to take out any dead wood in any kind of a woody plant, whether that's a rose bush or a tree or anything else. Dead wood is not good. And the reason for that is it can be a place where disease or rot gets into the plant, and it can kill the plant that way. But also it just takes up space. It restricts air movement. Other branches will rub against it when the wind blows, can cause damage that way. So yeah, I always recommend if you have any kind of woody plant to remove dead branches as quickly as you can.
So is there a way, like when you trim it, do you trim it at an angle or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter that much with a rose. We do use a kind of a more specific pruning technique for like a tree. Mm-hmm. We cut probably more than we want to go into here, but yeah, we kind of cut them at an angle, make sure we're not cutting through certain parts of the structure of the tree when we prune a branch, just because it takes that a lot longer to seal over, and you don't want to get diseases into your high value trees. With a rose, it doesn't matter too much. The biggest benefit to trimming it at an angle would just be that it sheds water off a little more easily, and it won't like sit there and be a place where fungus and stuff can get in.
Okay.
Nice.
Man, there are 100 other questions I'd love to ask you. And I think our guests would too. I think because like we didn't even touch on, kind of what Andrea was talking about earlier, like, climate specific plants. We talk about weeds and how to take care of that, grass, and bald spots and dead trees and tree care and things like that. Like there are so many other topics to talk about, to be honest.
Are there any plants that help scare away skunks?
Oh man, I have no idea. Hang on, let me Google that real quick. I have no idea.
I read something. My paper I'm writing.
When you find out, let me know, please.
I will. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay, I have one more question, and I'll be quiet. No, I won't. But anyway, so my question is, so my dogs dig in my grass, and we have what kind of grass? Cheap grass, Bermuda. And
okay.
So what's the best way to cover those holes back? Can I buy potting soil and then just lay some sod? Is that going to be my best bet?
Yeah, that'll work pretty well. What I would actually probably do is get some potting soil and mix some like play sand in with it, like maybe 10 or 15% play sand, just a little bit to get it a little bit looser. Level out that hole and then just put sod back on top of it.
Okay.
And it'll be fine.
Do you have any sod lying around? Just curious.
I don't. Not a lot.
That's good, Sandy, because I'd have just get a clump of grass from somewhere else and then just drop in there and be like, okay, do your thing, nature.
You're on your own.
Because Bermuda spreads, right?
It does.
Bermuda's the one that spreads. So,
yeah, it's pretty aggressive. So, and that's what I was going to say. It will fill itself back into some of those spots over time. But if you're just looking to quickly patch it, that's what I would do. Just cover it over, put a piece of sod on it, and it's good to go.
That's words to live by for life, guys.
Right.
If you got a hole in life, sometimes it just gets at you. It just needs to be dug out. Just some sod and sand.
Right.
Okay.
So I have one more question, basically. It's for the photography community here in Lubbock. So can you give us some tips and pointers for shooting out? Because you love it when we shoot out there.
For
you
sure.
want us to shoot out there. So,
I do.
And so what are some things that we need to watch out for, things that we need to do, and, kind of things like that?
Yeah, great question. So, we definitely love having photographers out here. It's for us, it's great PR, but it's also just, I really enjoy like seeing everyone's pictures, and we get tagged a lot on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just cool. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Campus is still kind of, we're not like locked down, but we're still kind of in a weird coronavirus thing. So normally I will let people, sign up for appointments to shoot inside the greenhouse. There's a form on our website, or they can call ahead, message me on Facebook, whatever. But for the time being, through the summer, we're probably unfortunately having to shut that down. We can't have the public in the building.
Right, makes sense.
But the garden outside is always open. We've got 2.5 acres of garden. We love for you to come shoot. You're welcome at any time. It's an open space. I will say a couple of things. No confetti. Just leave the confetti at home.
Yeah, glitter too, guys. Just no.
Yeah.
Glitter, confetti, champagne, those kinds of things that are going to cause either a weird sticky spot somewhere in the garden, or like, it's funny because there's like a permanent sticky spot out by the main entrance to campus, like at the seal where people use champagne all the time. But glitter, confetti, and those kinds of things are hazardous to the wildlife we have here. They're things that we have to deal with and clean up. And it's just littering, right? You don't want to do it.
Right.
If you do happen to use something in your shoot, please pick it up, take it with you. If you move something like a bench or anything else in the garden, please put it back. Just make sure that, you kind of leave things as you found them as much as you can.
Awesome.
Be respectful,
And
people.
my last question is going to be: do you grow pineapples?
I do have a pineapple.
Hush your mouth.
I have a pineapple plant, and I'll send. I don't have a picture just handy,
You have
but
a pineapple
Yes.
plant?
there's one pineapple plant in my
That's my
greenhouse.
dude right there.
And-
Jerry, you hear this?
It's got this one little pineapple that's like this big on it.
What?
It's like the size of a baseball, and pineapples kind of grow like they're playing a trick on you. Like it's just a stick that comes out of the middle of the plant, and the pineapple sitting on top of it. You should literally Google a pineapple farm.
No, I want to
And-
see yours first. I want to see your picture first,
Okay,
and then
I'll
I can
send you a
look at
picture.
the other ones. Yes.
I'll put it in the comments.
How long does it take for it to like fully mature and be ready to eat?
A few months. It started, so it flowered probably about 6 weeks ago, and it'll be kind of right by the end of the summer.
Oh, how cool! I want to see that picture when he shares.
I'll post some pictures in the comments.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. One last question. I see it.
All right. I need to ask: is cheap beer good for your grass? Ask him for a friend.
Grass does not like Natty Light, so even grass has some standards. Sorry for your listeners that like Natty
It doesn't
Light.
like slit malt liquor.
There's a line probably at the top and the bottom end that you just shave them off. Like you don't need to use like a $15 bottle of beer. But you know what? Actually, there's a lot of people that do that. It certainly won't hurt it. Beer has a lot of nitrogen in it. It'll just kind of green up your grass. It won't hurt anything.
What?
Yeah.
That is funny.
So people do actually buy cheap beer. I've seen someone buy cheap beer and put it in a backpack sprayer and spray it on their lawn.
They're
don't
like, a
freeze
little for
person.
me, a little for you.
I don't know that it's a huge benefit, but it won't hurt anything at the very least.
That is interesting. Drunk grass.
So, is it okay, Joke?
Yeah, it's fine. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So, we like to do two things before. I hate that we're ending this already. They're so you're so informative.
went quick.
Vikram. Thank you. Okay, but we like to give all of our guests some time to kind of just plug whatever it is that they want to plug. You can use this time to plug anything you want to do, personal, or if you got the cure for the common cold or world peace. This is your time to shine. We're going to give you a few seconds here to do that. Okay.
Kind of just the same stuff we've been talking about. Look up Texas Tech Greenhouse on Instagram, Facebook. I just made a Twitter. I'm not good at Twitter, but it's there. So there's that. I have a small woodworking company that I run when I have a few free minutes, which is pretty much never, called Baliga Woodworks. I go to some of the craft markets around here and make cutting boards and pens and that kind of thing.
Cool.
Look up my podcast, Planthropology. It is, again, the link's in the comments somewhere, but planthropologypod.com. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you can find me on any of the big podcasts or any of the podcast players out there. And then I'm trying to think what else. I guess Noble Farms, our family peach orchard that is opening up here in the next 10 to 14 days or so. And so it's a pick your own orchard. You can bring the family out. We'll send you with a cart and a box, give you some instructions, and you can kind of walk around. We've got about 5 acres, and you get to pick your own peaches, and then you just pay by the pound at the end. And so
That's sweet.
It's a lot of fun.
That is sweet, Joe.
That's gonna be cool.
It is sweet.
Yeah, I don't like peaches, but it'll be cool.
And
Have you ever had a fresh peach, like right off the
no,
tree?
I actually haven't.
You need to come get one, because so I'll tell one more story. We had I mentioned when Joe and I spoke earlier that I've done a lot of media. I've done news and radio and TV news, radio, and all that kind of stuff. Well, we had a camera guy come out to the orchard one day who just swore up and down that he did not like peaches. Like, he wouldn't even try it. We were like, Jordan, try the peach. Just try it. So finally, before he left, we made him eat one, and now he's like he won't buy them from the store, but every time I talk to him, he's like, are the peaches there? Are there peaches?
that's so awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we made a believer out of him.
So he's a peach snob now.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I'm sorry. I only eat the freshest of peaches.
Okay, I gotta ask 2 more questions, but I'm sorry, but just real quick, and maybe it's not it. Just segue real fast. Peaches. I thought I heard of a fruit recently that's like from the Middle East somewhere, where it's a fruit that I thought it was oh my gosh, I can't remember the country. No. It's like peaches, I thought, but it's this one peach that grows in, like India or something like that. No. And this fruit's only available, and by the time customs and everything else, the communities, the people from this area, from this Middle Eastern country, only get like 2 weeks of these peaches. But when you taste, I thought they were peaches. It's not ringing a bell for you.
I'm not sure. No, I'm not. I don't know.
Never mind. We'll talk about it in the after show. But we'll talk about it later. But listen. Our last question before we let you go, Vikram, is we like to have our guests give us a topic for a future episode. So with that in mind, do you have a topic that you'd like for the 3 of us to cover for a future episode?
Oh man, I was thinking about that earlier, and I was kind of struggling to put it together. Okay, can it be like super specific?
It can be general or super specific. It just has to have some PG-13, positive and upbeat.
Okay, so I have a challenge for you then, because this is kind of a dying art. I want you to try to find and talk to a guitar maker. It's called a luthier. And we have 2 or 3 here in Lubbock, and that make handmade guitars. They're all over Texas, but it's a dying art because so many of those things are mass produced. I've made a couple when I was in college, but like a professional luthier, I think that'd be super interesting.
That is awesome.
Okay, cool.
I like how it's very specific. So now we can be like, who knows this?
Very specific.
I know a guy who just retired, so he could learn how to do that.
There you go.
I never thought I'd heard luthier twice in a year. So that's
interesting.
Meant to be.
Awesome. Vikram, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a blast.
It was definitely a blast. So we're going to let you go right now, but we can't wait to hear about what's going on for your future. And thank you again, okay?
Thanks. Vikram. We appreciate it very much.
Good luck on your PhD.
Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
Love it.
That was cool. That was cool. I like
we
that
now,
guy.
guess what, guys? We now have Plant Google.
Reach out whenever you need something, whenever you need to research something.
Right. I'm going to send them blurry pictures as I'm driving across.
Be like, is this a blue bonnet?
Exactly.
So that was excellent. Excellent. Good guest, Joe. Appreciate that.
Yep. Thanks. I hope you guys enjoyed it. He's got lots of information, so I think it was just it was a good show.
I just found him on Instagram, and his Instagram links over to his podcast. So if you guys find him,
cool.
Link is in there.
All right, so guys, tomorrow night, come back. We have a chef coming on the show, and so if you remember a few weeks back, Sandy was on here. She was the massage therapist, and she wanted us to bring. What did I say?
Sandy.
Why you didn't need to correct me. I totally said the right thing. That's what I said. Oh my gosh.
Her name was Cindy.
That's what I said, Cindy. Sandy, I'm sorry. Okay, don't look at me like that. I'm sorry. Anyway, Cindy asked us if we could bring a chef on because she was tired of cooking everything with chicken all the time. And so we're going to ask the chef to help us out with some recipes, okay? So come back tomorrow night.
Yeah, and have your notepads ready. Have your notepads ready.
All right. So we love you guys, and as usual,
remember to wash your hands
for at least 20 seconds.
You filthy animals.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Man.
Sandy, I'm so sorry, okay? I'm so sorry. Don't think of me
She
bad.
was giving you the death stare.
I need to go run upstairs and grab an egg.
Your soul.
It felt it. I felt it like all up in here. You can't see it, but it's all up
almost
here.
melted my glasses with the death stare.
Sorry.
That is crazy.
Don't ever call. I said.
No, what you called me Cindy, and then you called